Y'all, we are live back. Twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, twitch.tv. Take a morning pee, drop some LSD, and go tripping around Chinatown. We'll get our morning buzz, a little cup of love, so safe and sound, freshly ground, fresh from the broasters, infidels. It's Hacker Hamin, it's MS Styles, the phenomenal child, and who shot ya? We're going to find out at Wrestlers Court this week, infidels, here on the Impact Attack. YOLO! Good morning, infidels. We are back, ready to attack. It's MSG, Hacker Hamin, and we'll see if we get the run-in from JD Love. He might be on a call with the office. You know, the Bucks calling him all the time. Omega calling him for advice. He's talking to Vince. Like, the guy, he's the ultimate kayfaber, so I didn't expect for him to come in like anybody else. But my main man is in effect. MSG, how you doing this morning, buddy?
You know, we're hanging in there. It's another beautiful morning here in Denver, Colorado. Snowed on Tuesday morning, so snow's still melting on the ground. But other than that, hanging out. I get to work. I get to. I say this because I want to. I get to work Thanksgiving tomorrow and then Friday. And people are like, "Oh, you got to work Thanksgiving." I'm like, "Bro, I get double time. Like, so I'm making bank this week. Fuck yeah, I get to work holidays." So yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna hang out with my buddy Joe tomorrow or Thursday. I'm sorry, for Thanksgiving. So heading over there. So at least I got somewhere to go. I'm not alone. And yeah, just happy to be back with you, sir. Of course, for another edition of the Impact Attack right here on hackerhamin.podbean.com. Got so much content out there, man. I'm sitting here creating a Photoshop pic for Lance Archer as a Klingon for the Star Trek podcast that drops this Thursday on HamiMediaGroup.podbean.com.
Awesome job to for those guys, for Enright and for Triple D, man. For 5 shows in, they got top guys from AEW, man, coming on their show. That's awesome, dude. I'm real proud of them. Yeah, I even put over the Suck My Balls podcast yesterday on Russo Patreon because they wanted to talk South Park. So I know a little bit about it. I know a guy who might know something. So yeah, man, it was a great day.
You know how many people I've sent emails to already? I'm like, hey, you would like to come on the South Park podcast. But these guys are like, you know, writers and animators. So they don't have a lot to promote. So it's like they don't really have the necessary reason to come on. You know what I mean? They probably talk about South Park all the time with their colleagues, and you know what I mean. So
they'll talk about something else. Just put them over as that and find what their interests are and let them do themselves. You don't have to do a, hey, do you remember when you wrote this back in 1990? Like, don't do that. Don't do that. You're better than that.
Right.
You know, you're gonna. These people are quickly becoming your coworkers, not people that you look up to, and you'll be working alongside them soon enough. You know, and then that's a different look, and some other young kid will be looking at what you did in around here and wherever you're going next.
It's weird.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It is crazy, bro. But those guys were the same way for comedians in the 80s and 90s. We hold them on high, but it's just about who's going to go forth and pursue their passions. And they did, and they changed a generation, man. So it's all the same circle. It's just you're getting closer and closer to the center of it.
So not to start off hot here, or not even hot itself, just a story that came out or that was on broke on Twitter yesterday. So I don't know if you saw it. Brian Alvarez was referring to, maybe not chose the best choice of words when referring to his friend who had leukemia. Okay. And in the context of this conversation, he said, you know, my friend, he didn't have Roman Reigns leukemia.
Oh,
he had the bad leukemia.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So because of this, the outcry, of course, the backlash online. What do you mean? What's the difference between, of course, Roman Reigns leukemia and bad leukemia? And, or, you know, he's, of course, is it downplaying? I mean, I know that's not his intention. I don't know Brian Alvarez. He has an act online, but I know he's a dad, and I know he's probably at the end of the day not trying to like be an evil person. So I don't think he was necessarily trying to.
None of my interactions with him were like that.
Right.
Not in any of the interactions I've ever had with Brian Alvarez. No, I don't know him to be. Not that I know him, but you know, we all say dumb shit on the mic.
So I think because of that, the backlash has ensued that, you know, what's the difference? What's the proper way of, you know, should he be saying things like Roman Reigns leukemia to regular leukemia? and or why did he make a statement like that? I mean, what type of
it could be one of 3 or 4 things, right? Like he's obviously emotional about his friend's situation, and as anyone would be. So you're thinking emotionally, you know what I mean? So I got to kind of cut him a break for that. Then there is the part of every wrestling pundit said it. Why is Roman Reigns back if he's had a not a relapse? What's the word? It's not remission either. If your cancer comes back, I can't remember the proper term. But the way he came back so quickly, people are like, what? Like, like where's WWE actually using this as a cover story? But then I guess there is, and this is my own ignorance in oncology of, there is certain types of it that where it kind of comes and goes and shows up on tests, and you have to take care of yourself, obviously, during that, as opposed to when people think, life-ending leukemia and struggles and St. Jude's kids and things like that, you get a different picture in your head, and that's just the 80s and 90s that we were brought up in. So, or was that a work and WWE was doing something at the time? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say it is or isn't, but is that what Alvarez is saying there? Does he have inside information, where he's like, right, that Roman Reigns, because it's out of context typed. So he could either be emotional, not the Roman Reigns kind, where it's like the relapse kind and it comes back, but the real deadly kind. It could be taken like that. Or you can read it as a smart ass and go, oh, the Roman Reigns leukemia, wink, wink, fucking versus a dire situation. So everything's lost in translation when people want to judge somebody. You know what I mean? Not to go to bat for it either way. And, sometimes, and at the same time, as a comedian, there is nothing is sacred to me. I don't, if we're playing at Bill Burr, Andrew Dice Clay, Dave Chappelle level, and that's where I'm trying to take my art as a comedian. Not that Alvarez is sharpening his act that way, but me personally, there is no shock value comedy is what I came up with in the 90s. So pussy ass, consider everybody's feelings comedy is the lowest of the fucking low to me. So not to say it's a joke in bad taste, but when you're with your boys and you want to go one lower, you know what I mean, and really knock the legs out on a joke, so everyone's doing that's a possibility too. You know what I mean? So that's not all this stuff unless I hear the clip, and I really don't care that much. But I did see that in the chat, and I'm not gonna. People are just waiting in the wings to fucking take you down when you get to any level of notoriety. That's what they do because they haven't done fuck all with their life, and here's their shot to take you down. Alvarez is a paid critic, and he was trained by Buddy Wayne, who's Rip Rogers' best friend. So people say shit about Meltzer, and I've gone to bat for Alvarez a little bit here and there, and you can watch Ted the Man Beast, who's off of co-host of this show, pull an hour with Brian Alvarez at fucking OVW. Now, I'm telling you, I don't care where you're from. You walk into OVW and even let Man Beast lead you in front of the boys, and the boys go, that was pretty fucking good. You got respect as far as I'm concerned, to some degree, even if he's not working all the time. So it ain't a Meltzer, it ain't a Bixen. None of these guys could ever do this shit. Never in their lives. Alvarez does it a little bit. So he's got a little bit more credibility than others, in my opinion. But that don't mean people aren't ready to fucking tear him down to criticize the critic at any turn. And that's part of the game that you play. You know what I mean? That if you want to be a hanger-on in wrestling and a pundit and say controversial shit because your audience is paying you to do hot takes, so you do hot takes. But then when you do a hot take and they go, we got him, boys. Everybody you fucked over along the way, it could come back on me the same way too. You know what I mean? But that's really what's going on here. I mean, do you think Roman Reigns is really sweating? Brian Alvarez said, what about me? And how dare he? And all that shit.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just more or less
Marks think.
Right. I was just more or less thinking like the overall negative response itself online. But I also wanted to like take the opportunity to not talk about or get hot about any wrestling or any wrestlers itself, and like, hey, let's shift the focus to some of the pundits this morning because that was a hot story itself.
Why not, man? And I went over. I got a couple Louis ribs in and Master Shoot Theater.
Oh, nice.
Out of the gate, so without going into it, because Vince is going to do a little something with him. And, I just want to make sure everybody sees things for what they really are. And that's a case of a dude who is being abused, through mental wrestling, locker room shit, and kept under because he's a super mark. But then is working on things secretly because that's how it was going down in the early days of AEW. I don't know the process now through DDP, while DDP keeps those guys under wraps. And then the locker room comes down on him for being a weirdo, the quintessential AEW fan, if you will. Then there's all these weird texts even from before, like Louis' story when he first starts texting, all true, all believable, without naming people so he can't get sued because of NDAs that I'm sure he had to sign. But then these weird homoerotic tweets rear their ugly head and you see who you're really dealing with, and that undercuts everything from that. And it gives Cody all the reason to fucking snub this guy. You know what I mean? Like 100%. He no matter.
Like if you think about it just from just a human side, even if you're a star or not, you're like, that guy's 100%. Just weird if he's tweeting at me like that, right? So
yeah, if they're doing work and you're talking about wanting his dick in your mouth and shit, like, guess what, bro? You're fired. Like, you think you're that over at DDP to fucking be doing that shit, trying to rib? That's him feeling too comfortable in the locker room because they were probably ribbing him about, oh yeah, you're gonna be my young boy, and and then he thinks that it's funny to do that online, but that's the kayfabe part, and he don't know how to keep it. Carnies, queers, and drug addicts, bro. 3 types of people in the entertainment business.
I'm telling you, like. I don't think I realize at times the training and knowledge I get for you that way. If I'm in these type of situations, I'm like, it'll just be there. I'll be like, oh.
If I wanted to be a shitbag, that's what I was different. That's why DCW was different than OVW. OVW, when I was a student, was run by guys under contract, getting ready to get their throats cut by JBL. So they would do all this shit, this undermining shit to get dirt on each other, to fuck each other over, and then cut a throat and leave a body beside the road. I come from a theater background where everything is about the cast, it's about the group and improv. And without that, then we can't reach the higher level doing it that way. We can only reach individual glory and people with depression and drug fucking overdoses the other way, because they use that against each other so they can get on top to play phony wrestler. Meanwhile, if we all played phony wrestler together, we're all going to the fucking top. So my whole style was different coming into that. And yeah, we got to know how to be able to cut throats and whatnot. But I saw that and I taught them the other way. We all knew how to do it the other way, right? This kid has no idea. They're just winding him up, and then they fucking leave the body by the side of the road. That's kind of the class. Right. Like, there's a switch, like 2007, 2008 in the mentality. And you see it with Man Beast and those guys because I helped put it in them. But fucking before that, bro, it was expected to show that you could be a throat cutter for no reason, like just to show that you can do it, to hang with the big dogs. That I would lure you in, Matt, get all this work out of you, and then fucking expose you and kick you to the side to show that I'll fucking stab this kid up to fucking show that I can make it up to the next level, and to warn you that I know the fucking game and how it's played, and fucking I'll do that to you on a brother to brother level if I'll do it to this kid in public. All that is in there, and no wrestling fans know about that shit, bro. Like, what that really is. And that's what they're doing. They got a big facade of everything's positivity, and we're remaking people's lives. Meanwhile, in the back, bro, it's I love this shit. Kill another one, dude. And he did it to himself. And they draw guys like that in to test them, so they will fail, so they can fuck it, because then they know they really got you. they really got you, you know, and never would I do that to my staff because that's not my mentality for success. And one breeds quick success and boosts one person or two people to the top on the backs and bodies of many. But that always comes back. Karma comes back to fuck with you. And that's what we saw on Friday. I don't think there's anybody in our organization that's going to come back on me like that to be doing those kind of things. I don't treat my staff like that behind closed doors. At least I don't think I do. I'll fire every time somebody tries to do a terrible fucking rim shot joke, they get fired, though. I'll tell you that right now.
No, surprisingly, you're pretty temperamental when you're having serious conversations. Not just the Ray K.
Yeah, if I gotta choose somebody out, it's not something I like to do, but I want to.
Really, but you didn't even yell it. Like, I mean, if you've ever choose somebody out, you're not really like, yeah, you know. It's more like, hey, man, can we have this discussion and let's talk? So
yeah, because you're missing the point of the greater picture, and I know that's inside of you to be better and do better, and then once you understand it. That's usually what it is a lack of communication and some immaturity in a business sense, or not being able to, not immaturity, but not being able to see a bigger picture because you just haven't been in that opportunity yet and see the big thing, or you're specifically kept in the dark because I got too much going on the fade. You know what I mean? Like those that's what comes with upper management, unfortunately. And at the same time, developing your talent, man. And I'm not going to fucking calm down. I don't know how you could come down on somebody who's given so much to you to build your brand to be like, what the fuck are you unless you like really fucked up. Like, what's his name? The one podcast, you know, that we had to clip. Like, maybe they learned a lesson, maybe they didn't, but it's behaviors like that you got to nip in the bud. And I'm not here to get fucking emotional about it. I don't have time to waste on that kind of shit, man. I really don't. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, putting me over.
No, you didn't cut me off. It's fine. I got a fun story to start here. It's just not necessarily fun, but it's whatever. On the latest episode of the Grilling the GR podcast, Jim Ross talked about his time spent calling XFL games. Right. Ross shared some insight into his paycheck every time he called a football game. He also said his schedule became hectic while working 7 days a week. There were high hopes for it. The football was so bad. My $15,000 a game that I got paid for doing XFL games did not contribute too badly to the $6.5 million loss. I had a lot more fun than $15,000, though. I really did. Be able to call football on television was a dream come true for me. I look back, aside from the losses from the company, that was more one of the fun years of my career. And then, of course, he goes on to talk about how he's working two jobs, you know, WWE and XFL at the same time. We don't need to go in that. 15 grand, man. That's pretty good, right? I mean,
yeah, that's fair amount, bro, for where he was at that time. I was at the Chicago game. Holy shit, it was a fucking rainy, miserable motherfucker, and him and Ventura were sitting over there like exposed, kind of. They had a tarp over them a little bit halfway through, but in the beginning, they just sat there in the fucking rain. I was like, what? And the cheerleaders, it was like fucking 34 degrees. Like, they wanted these girls to be all sexy when they came out. They were freezing by fucking 2 minutes in. They're all putting on warm-ups and shit, man. It was brutally miserable, that opening fucking game. And then I went to another Bears game versus fucking the Packers, and it was fucking like on Hoth. It was about fucking -8, and there was about a 40-mile-an-hour wind. It was every game I've ever been to fucking at that stadium has been absolutely miserable, bro. But yeah, dude, that XFL first time around, it was had hope. Now, whatever happened with COVID and how The Rock bought it, I mean, who knows where we're going now.
So, and then one more story I had here before we get into some Impact stuff here. Chris Jericho was recently on Keeping It 100, and I guess they had a conversation on who Jericho believed to be maybe the next big star, or who gives the best promos in AEW. I'm sorry. He says it's funny because somebody was pointing that out, the old school promo or something, and I watched that just today. He said Ricky Starks did one, and I was like, I text Cody and Tony, and I was like, when did you guys start doing this? I want to do this. This is how I learned to do promos in the box in WCW. We'd have those in the back. Jericho went on to say, too many wrestlers fall in the trap of emphasizing acting. While acting is an integral part of wrestling, Le Champion says you have to do it at the appropriate times and not make it feel artificial. It's rare that they can find good actors, But take an example like Cody. He knows how to raise the voice at the right times. Dustin Rhodes, he knows how to exactly where to kick it in. I feel I'm the same way, but there's a lot of guys basically just talking. Went on to say, when I started doing that, no one was doing promos like that. It was very much like Disco said, just a bunch of yelling and screaming. Let me make it the exact opposite way and turn it down. I remember sometimes I'd be doing a promo and someone in the crowd would say, "We can't hear you." In my mind, it was like, well, then you better fucking listen. And that's when they'd really start to listen to what you're saying. And when they're really listening, that's when you can reel them in, because you have them. They have no choice but to listen and what you're saying. And that was apparently back in 2008 when he feels like he made that transition on his promo style. I thought that was an interesting conversation he had on promos. Ben, what do you think? I mean, I know you watch AEW. Who's some of maybe your top 3 guys you think who gives the best promos? Maybe aren't Jericho or Cody.
Yeah, Ricky Starks did have a brilliant moment. I will put that over. Taz is a good promo. Absolutely. Just trying to think who else gets mic time, to be honest with you. Aside from Cody and them, the Bucks can cut a good promo. Matt Jackson cuts a good promo. I like Matt Jackson's believability. But Eddie Kingston is the best promo in AEW, hands down. There's no doubt about that. Eddie Kingston. And it's about, I bet, Eddie Kingston emulating mob movies and fucking knowing them line for line. What are we talking about here? Reps. We're talking about character monologue. We're talking about learning how to do something very slow. We're learning how to do something with a look, how to make it real and find our voice. Roman Reigns just found his voice this past one on SmackDown. It takes that long, kiddies. It takes you picking up Shakespeare. It takes you rewinding your favorite movies, you doing impersonations, finding out what is comfortable. This is an instrument. Your voice is as much an instrument as if you played a guitar. I was a vocal major for 5 years. I know my voice is an instrument. Shouldn't be smoking on it, but whatever, I'm an idiot.
It's weed. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, no, you heard me. I have a beautiful voice before the show.
Not tobacco, so you're
no. But it's it is our instrument, and if you're not going to learn how to play it and tune it, and you're just going to use it to, do the big, I can play one chord really loud. Well, then you're only going to be a one chord musician, and a lot of people made money being only knowing 1 or 2 chords. I'm not saying it isn't, but if you really want to take this art to the highest level and do the, I love this business game, that means you need to be pushing it to the highest level. And that means, what does it feel like to be Beatrice from Kill Bill? What does it feel like to be someone who has lost a child and a tragic way? What does it feel like to be Rambo and your country has turned on you and now they're hunting you? What does it feel like to be Jason Bourne, super spy, where you don't know what's going on, but you have to react in the moment to every stimulus? What does it mean to be Gilbert Grape, having a retarded brother and fucking having to look out and give up what your life's hopes and dreams, where they can see that in your eyes, but you're not putting it over, right? They
never go full retard, never go full retard, never go
full there's all of these things. What is it like to play Forrest Gump and be a character where he is a comedic comedy relief, but you have to play it with integrity? You can't start making a joke of it, because as soon as you do that, reality you made is gone. Those are a lot of things to learn. I just laid out there. Each one of those is a 6-month effort to really get that Bob Ross painting level. You know what I mean? And make your happy little trees. So the audience can see that. And it took Jericho experimenting with everything from Ralphus to changing his hair to Stinko Malenko and Stephanie, you trash bag hoe, bottom feeding hoe, and I'm going to take it up here and I'm going to bring it down here. And then, I'm just going to be cool and put my arms out to the side and do enough of the look side to side, break the wall down. Those are all small things to reel you in with the look. So when he does say something, WWE wise, he would get the most out of it, but all he'd have to do at the end of the day when he'd really bring him in, take the pen off, click it, and fucking look at you before you even said a fucking word. That's power of audience control and conditioning, bro.
Let me segue into a plug here on your patreon.com, on our patreon.com, Hamin Media Group / Hamin Media Group. Do you have any intention of maybe doing some sort of, I know you're doing business consultation and whatnot, but maybe some sort of theater vocal type of training or type of,
Yeah, well, I want
tricks?
that to be some of that in the Culture Vulture tier. I know some of you are $10 subscribers, and that's my focus this weekend actually is to make I want to do watch alongs where I talk about tragically hip songs. I want to talk about improv. But if I am going to add a consultation tier because there are people who want it for business, character, or acting, and I consider myself a professional and with a master's degree in all three of those. People like, well, is it from a university? No, it's from Improv Olympic in Second City, the best of the best at the best. Is it from a university? Well, it's from OVW, the Harvard of professional wrestling, where I trained alongside and shut up and listened to the legends of this business every week and the current WWE stars. Is it acting? Well, I've been doing this since I was 12 years old, and I've worked with every rotating cast of every major musical and done scene study all through college, directed shows since I was 17 years old. So I know a little bit or two about the performance industry and what it takes and what the pitfalls are. And really, no matter whatever it is, me shooting my fucking cocksucker off on these podcasts or fucking being in the ring, getting a character out and getting a reaction so people can get their PTSD out. I'll tell you, my true talent lies in taking a performer who is unmolded clay and pulling a performance out of them, and they become an empowered performer. I've done it with rappers. I've done it with regular actors, improvisers, and wrestlers. And, that's my Barry Horowitz. Like that.
No, seriously, you should do this. I mean, because I'm, of course, me being the thespian, I grew up, and I've done over 24 plays as a kid growing up, right? Theater all the way into college and whatnot. So like, I'm a nerd for all that stuff. You start talking about the character development, getting to the psychological aspect, into the mind of the character itself. So that way you can pull the best performance out of said actor for that specific performance itself. No, it's good stuff.
Yeah, man, it's just about time. I gotta meet today at 3 p.m. with Stevie Ray to talk about getting his Patreon launch. So Ben Hamin's acting 101, that I want to develop all that. I really want to develop all that. And that's what the long-term value of being a Hamin Media Group Patreon subscriber is. And I know I'd like to be able to focus on just cranking out content for that, but we've got the whole free side of the platform to run. So that's the icing on the cake. Even though it is a revenue generator, that's not as important to me as community building in a time of when people need us the most. So,
when acting workshop starts, I'll be first one.
I appreciate that. Be ready to do your homework though, because that's the whole thing. You can't teach acting by me telling you what to do. Right. It's about reps. It's all about, here's a monologue. And this David Munnell, who was a good acting coach in at Fredonia, and that's where his class is where I met Nice Peter, and I wanted to punch him in the face the first day because he was so good. He just had the it factor, and I've always had to. I don't consider myself having the it factor. I've worked with a lot of performers who do, and when you see it, you know it. I am a chop wood, carry water actor. And that usually makes the best director, but because I'm not a fruitcake like most actors that are put out a brilliant performance and then they're wacky as shit in their real lives or whatever, So regardless, Dave Munnell, I was doing a monologue from Assassins, where he supposedly has is it Assassin? Yeah, the play Assassins. He has Nixon. He wants to kill Nixon, this character, and he's just walking around the room, and the cheeseburger, fucking fast food bags all over, and crazy, and the guns there and whatnot. And I was just delivering a monologue, and I thought I was a sweet ass actor. I'd done all this summer stage and all the high school and placed in Shakespeare competition and all that. And fucking, I'm just standing there delivering. And Munnell goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're not moving around. You're not." Like, this guy's nuts. And I was doing the nuts voice, but I'm not doing any of the nuts motions. He goes, "Where are you?" I go, "I'm in my apartment." And he goes, "Yeah, I can see that." And he goes, "That's what it said in the scene." He goes, "Now, Imagine you went and got Nixon and he's sitting in the room right there tied to the chair with you and you deliver it to Nixon. And that changed my whole fucking scope and perspective of what I did. I came back and did it the next week and blew the fucking doors off in a completely different way. And I remember that being a pivotal moment of me learning scene space, believability, creating somebody to play off of and whatnot. Now I can take the Kill Bill monologue. Looked at, didn't I? But I wasn't. But it wasn't from Bill's last bullet. Like right. And I have these girls who are like playing, they want to play mean girls or they want to play like all these little shit characters. I go, now you're going to play a fucking psychopathic ninja murderer hell-bent on revenge looking for her ex-lover. And that monologue's given while she's driving down the road. But I'll have everybody in the acting class lay out like, and I go, and you're dead and you've got a sword sticking out of you. So put your hands there. So even in death, I've got the actors acting, right? That is supporting. Right. And I go, now you're going to deliver that monologue. You're going to walk through all these dead bodies and you're going to fucking give it as an over monologue, you know, and you've got to do it in 17 steps. How slow do you have to walk through dead bodies while delivering a 1.5-minute monologue? Now we're challenging ourselves. Now we're getting somewhere and building actors. So being in the box backstage at AEW is great and learning how to break the fourth wall or be in the moment and have an emotion on camera. But that is still baby steps compared to where we need to go. I know that's the long way around, but that's my methodology. And it only comes through chop wood, carry water. You're in this shit to be a character. And whether I'm YOLO, whether I'm this phony infidel character they had to invent, whether I'm my real self, yes, hear me now. Yeah, I will do whatever I want to do. Or if I'm, yeah, pal, all right. Oh, yeah. Or you dorks, you shouldn't be on Twitter to me. Like, how many ways can you switch and get that, right, and that muscle going, bro? And when you can do that, then you don't have to worry about the rest of it of, holy cow, Cody, I want to do that too. Well, then do that every time, anytime. You should have 50 tricks that you can go to. Watch this one. And I can impersonate Vince, impersonating Deuce from hearing and, you know, and body language and picking it up and whatnot. But
see, when I was talking like acting workshop, that's what I meant. Not necessarily, I don't need you to teach me how to act. I need more the tips and tricks, the tools to, you know what I mean? So that way you put your act, you put it all together. So
I get it, dude. And then sometimes we get out there on stage and we're in the ring and we forget all of it.
Right.
I've done it. I watch that performance. I go, what am I fucking doing? Like, I go, I had such high hopes for that. And I totally went into biz for myself and didn't serve the character or the scene. And it's like,
do you feel like, though, like when you're in that, though, obviously, like when you're in the improv, right? Because at that point, you know, if you equate to even music, right? If you play a wrong note, you have to get back into it, right? Because you can't let the audience know that you fucked up.
There's an interesting that, yeah. Well, if you just keep going, they're never gonna know, right? There's a lot of things here. Here's the Ricky Stark scene. When we get lost in a scene in improv, if you say a truth about yourself that's undeniable, you don't have to tell the audience it's a truth. You just need to know it's a truth, and it will be undeniable to the audience. That's an easy way when you're improvising to get back to a grounded state of mind. If you start going way the fuck out here. And I think that's kind of what is shining through with him. He's saying the truths that he needs to say. And that is what is undeniable to Cody and Jericho. So let's stop trying to play even at the highest level what we think a main eventer is and just live in our own moment of our own greatness. If I'm Jericho, and what does that really look like? You know, introspectively or not, I don't know. That could be a whole interesting road to go down instead of right now they're doing comedic one-upsmanship improv games because Jericho has studied with the Groundlings, with Second City, and I see it in the work. But it's at a level that's a fourth or fifth grade. I want to see him at TJ and Dave level, like TJ Jagodowski, Dave Pasquazi, masters of this shit level. Instead of the game is fun because it keeps it simple for the AEW audience because they can follow the game of one-upsmanship and the game of leaving the sex god out. We keep playing these two games out, and then we even have one-upsmanship with our bodyguards and da-da-da-da. Okay, but eventually we need to edit at the high point and then start on to the next thing. That's all part of it too.
Well, guys, if you want more Ben Hamin deep knowledge, go to patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Of course, you can go to patreon.com/Russo TWC, and you can hear the Master Shoot Theater this week has been alluded to there. Yeah, pal, you'll be able to tune in. And of course, there's the Dirty Sheets, Nitty Gritty Dirty Sheets show on there. There's the disco show where they talk about politics, not wrestling.
Put this over. I want to talk about this on the Patreon eventually. Sonic the Hedgehog. I work on my vocal impersonations by singing rap songs in different voices. The best songs are like Lil Wayne, Love Me, where Drake and Future go back and forth. That's one thing I don't put over to you guys enough. You guys know I open with hip hop just to be a hip hop junkie. This is something I have. I even had 8 to 10-year-olds doing it, but I would give them the verse. But the older people, I wouldn't. In the South, when I was teaching acting, hip hop is the most empowering and freeing art form that will allow us to become a character outside of ourselves and find our strengths. And we just look at it as a Black cultural phenomenon. It is a vocal exercise. It is this is all your muscles in your face. This is what we use as our instrument. So when you do, my name is Humpty, pronounced with the umpty. Oh, ladies, oh, how I like the funky. And all the rappers in the top 10, please allow me to bump thee. Or if I do, shit, shame on a nut who tried to step to, dirty ma, put my foot up here, huh? Like, now I'm doing different things with my breath control. The style depends on breath control. Once you've mastered that, it's nearly invincible. Toad style is immensely strong and immune to nearly any weapon. Yeah, dude, hip hop allows us to become characters and do different voices. We're doing impersonations now, and we're these vocalists that have great lyrical skill. Now we're applying their monologues and an emotional story while doing that. Hip hop is the number one best thing you can do to memorize 1632 bars, because now you're memorizing a script. You're having to do a style, you're having to do a cadence, and you're having to do a character all at the same time. The power of hip hop for an actor is so underutilized. If it was NXT day one, everybody's getting 16 bars. The first thing I go, who can spit 16? I want to see everybody get up there, because as soon as you do, we all love some hip hop song. I don't give a fuck what it is. Show me your love and show me why you want to go 1, 2, 3 into the Doggy Dog and Dr. Dre's at the door, ready to make an entrance. Go back on up, because you know we about to rip shit up. You can flip back and forth from Dre to do, like, can you do it? And now you know that's ingrained on your soul as Americana. But me as a director, I say, look at the power that performer has in them now. They might have been timid before, but when they become Snoop Dogg, they forget about their little insecurities. They're just living. This is how you snap performers into another realm, bro. I'm giving it up there. I haven't done any of this on Patreon, but it's coming.
I know, bro. I've been waiting for like years to get this knowledge, guys. This is what I've been like clamoring.
I've
been clamoring for. This is the Ben Hamin knowledge I've been clamoring for. Everyone's like, "Oh, you've been working your way up to get it." Yeah, I'm like, no, I just want the Ben Hamin knowledge, guys.
But when I say, "Oh, I want to be head writer, I want to do this, that, and the other," this is the shit I sit on that I've known since 2008 when I was kind of coming into my own at OVW, that I knew I could bring from improv, that nobody else has this fucking dual crossover knowledge. The only other person who really does is Ryan Nemeth, because he's the only one who's been at Improv Olympic and Second City and crossed over that way. So he knows, he has the real foundation because he went through the whole program. There's other guys in wrestling, in improv, who dabble in wrestling. Zach Thompson, who's an announcer and a way better improviser than me, kind of does it the other way. You know what I mean? Colt Cabana hangs with a lot of them, and he knows improv to a little degree, but he doesn't know it from the fundamental foundation on up. So but there's very few, and I'm the golden child when it comes to that shit. That's whatever. It's whatever, man. Go ahead. What's next?
Well, guys, that's some of your stories there. Look at that, Kaz. Any of those topics you can clip because they were all positive, great conversations right here on your Impact Attack.
Is it that, or is it just me putting myself over? I don't know.
I don't know. You know, there's some positive things in there.
Okay.
But let's talk about Impact Wrestling then. Is Impact Wrestling, of course, you know, we've got a couple different things here tonight to talk about. You know, of course, as you looked at my name, the phenomenal MS Styles, we get the debut of CJ Swoggle tonight.
So good.
There was a lot of great things I liked on this show.
Yeah. How about his fucking hair? Like, dude, his hair wasn't any more perfect. It was
looks just like him.
Dude, Swoggle pops the shit out of me every time, man. Been on 3 shows with him, got to work with him once, and we did a lot of that same stuff. The guy knows where his money is, how to get over. He's definitely a locker room leader on the indies. He's one of the boys. Everybody respects the shit out of him. And it's things like this where he gets to work with Brian Myers, and he gets to work with the Good Brothers, and he gets to work with who was it in the ring? Oh, it was the North, but I gotta skip to this because this was the segment that got me the hottest.
Okay.
This segment got me super hot because first of all, whatever with Luke Gallows and Anderson, he's got to cut the promo. That's just how you got to do it to justify it. And then you're going to do the rib on AJ Styles because they're all boys. And then Swoggle comes out, looks phenomenal, goes to legit, goes to the ring, does this whole thing, but he goes over on the North. Not good, dude. This is so we get like a comedy finish. This is an indie house show comedy finish that we would work at UPW because it doesn't matter long-term business. Ethan Page could come back and be champ the next show. On TV, this is a problem. Do the rib. Good Brothers don't care about Hornswoggle. They're just paying him to go down there and do the rib on AJ, right? And do some wrestle crap. You could do 1 or 2 spots that are comedy, but dude, Ethan Page should have taken his motherfucking head off and left him laying at the end. And I know Swoggle would probably agree to that business. Just one straight kick and a good ass bump. It doesn't matter. It's a full-size jack guy on a little person, you know, like for him to go over on, took the North from contenders to ribs for a house show finish there, dude. That would have been more heat if he kicked the shit out of Swoggle, pinned him, and Good Brother up there goes, oh, well, you beat the phenomenal one, and he leaves because it's just a comedy barrier that prolongs it a week. That was not a good idea to have him.
But the thing is, it looks like there's some reports apparently. The spoilers are out that the current plan is for Swoggle to appear in full Styles gear and wrestle matches under this new satire gimmick. So it doesn't sound like it's a one-off. So maybe they're trying to
have him lose every match until he fucking wins the big one.
Right. Well, I guess they were trying to build him up as some sort of big contender because they have the big LG. So now you got the big, small CJ. I don't know.
I get it, but he don't need to do shit. Like, what are you going to have him go down and just keep rolling dudes up? You're going to hurt your roster for a joke. The North worked goddamn hard the last year. Not to say that they're not in the spotlight with these guys, and wrestling's phony. We can make any choices we want. But that guy worked his ass off to become way more credible. They took themselves from lower card obscurity as a new tag team to being in the fucking spotlight to possibly be able to go anywhere they want to get jobs right now, I think. And things like this are cute for a house show to make kids laugh, but it just undercut 1.5 years worth of work that Ethan Page is putting a lot of time into his body and fucking credibility and getting his name out there, man. I just think that the real heat is between Good Brothers and them, and fucking let those guys get heels right now on a midget.
Just to make an observation as as a viewer of the program, removing myself from any backstage knowledge or any degrees of separation. I feel like that they Impact Wrestling. I mean, of course, I'm sure other wrestling promotions do as well, but I've noticed the shift from where they put the Rascals in a position of more of that comedic gimmick. Now that the Rascals have left, it shifted over to the North. So it kind of feels like they just plugged the North into that position.
It's a mistake.
Am I misreading that, or I mean?
I think it's just that everybody's capable of doing comedy, but you got high-level ex-WWE guys and guys from the indies who have made themselves at Impact. Now, those WWE guys threw a comedy barrier in, and you lowered the level of the integrity of the Impact guys by bowing down to it just to do a comedy spot. Instead of do the ass spot, let him bite you, duck one, turn around, big boot, finish. He's a midget. And then he bit you on the ass. Good Brothers got their laugh. And what do heels need?
Heat.
Where's the heat now?
There isn't at the North.
There is. There's one little bit of heat. There was only one little bit of heat after this match. Where is it?
I'm sorry.
It's between Josh Alexander and
Ethan Page?
Ethan Page.
Oh, I guess.
He's like, what the fuck? And Ethan Page's like, what? Now there's heat between them. There's not heat between fucking
I'm sorry, I thought you meant
Good Brothers and fucking them.
Yeah.
And that finish got me red hot because you could have got all the comedy business done and put big heat on the heels and had fucking something next week where you could even rematch that with fucking Josh Alexander if you want to, you know what I mean? Some type of thing that way, dude. But
you don't feel like that they had set that up with the dissension with earlier in the night when Ethan Page starts off by. Right? I'm just saying because Ethan Page starts off right by boasting about the fact that he was the one that took out Gallows, and then Alexander retorts back by saying, "Well, hey, idiot, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. How are we going to get our title shot now?" So, I mean, there already seemed to be laying the groundwork of that dissension earlier in the night.
You make fucking Swoggle and Gimmick tag together to defend it. And you have some Good Brothers slip over that way, but you don't. They killed their heat, bro. Week 1.
Well, let's start off with the first match tonight. We had Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz taking on the Sea Stars. Is that who it was? Delamia Alexa, Ashley Vox. We also had Josh Matthews out on commentary with Matt Striker. As Matt Striker, of course, did some turning point work at the recent pay-per-view, and Madison Rayne was going to be representing Johnny Swinger in tonight's Wrestler's Court. So
that was a good idea because it would have been too much Madison Rayne on the show if she was at ringside.
Yeah, I agree, and it would have been weird for her to. I got to go backstage. I got to run back and forth.
Right.
Well, we had this Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz match. The ultimate victor was the Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan match after they get the pinfall victory. Did you see Kiera Hogan's tweet over the last 24 hours? I don't know. I saw this online. She tweeted out something
my ass is beautiful. Check it out on Impact. Like, holy cow, man. She is beautiful, bro.
No. Her tweet was a little bit more dark. The world is dead to me. I'm over it. And then that was it.
Wow. I guess that is pretty dark. So was everybody reaching out? Hey, what are you? Are you okay? Are you doing this?
Hey, girl, you'll stay strong. You know, that kind of thing.
So in wrestling terms, that means I don't know. This is all hypothetical. I don't know Kiera Hogan at all. I think she has money written all over. And what did I say earlier about performers, bro?
You have to get the best out of them by putting them in different situations.
Motherfuckers, man. Like, she was brilliant in the ring last night. Now today I'm done with the world. I'm on TV. I've worked my ass off.
Oh, gotcha.
TV, and I'm on TV.
Moody motherfuckers. Yeah.
Like, are they capable of doing some dumb self-destructive shit? Abso-fucking-lutely. And that's why I just don't understand the depression thing, Matt. We've been through this. You know what I mean? And it's just not in my DNA. I got respect for it with others because I see it in people I work with for the last 30 years in their brilliance and their madness. But like, so what could that be? Here's in simplest wrestling terms where my mind goes. She's on TV last night. They taped everything. They thought they were getting signed after this thing, and they just got worked by the office to be pay-per-performance fucking workers, and now they're probably not getting signed for the next time or whatever. I'm just hypothetical. That's just out of my mind. It could be something completely different aside from that. If you need, my phone is being switched off now.
Yeah, so she said, "I'm dead to the world. If you need me, my phone is being switched off." Now that was her last two tweets 21 hours ago. So hopefully she's okay.
Well,
Hopefully,
she's
as you
all right too,
mentioned,
man. She's I don't know. It could be a multitude of things, and I'm not here to put it on wrestling as the thing that
right?
sets people off. But a lot of times in this biz, it is what our passion is, where we have to be like, oh, I saw Kira Hogan on TV. Da, da, da. She might have made more money working indies on the weekend than what she's doing on TV. You know what I mean? Because just because all the glitters ain't gold, especially when you only got 160,000 viewers, what do you think they're going to pay a Kira Hogan? You know what I mean?
$500 maybe.
How much? 500
$500.
It could be that, but I'd say that's the high end, especially when you got to pay everybody else, right?
There's no audience. Really, you're not making revenue right now. I mean,
exactly. So, like I'm saying, this is all in my head, just equating to wrestling. This could be something completely different, or dog died, or some shit like that that sent her down a whatever. But this is the generation of misuse of social media. I'm going to put out a fucking crazy statement where people think I might be suicidal. Then I'm going to say I'm going to detach from this thing. So I'm doing a vanity woe is me post as I detach on the way out that I won't be able to see so everyone can like it. But I'm really not shutting my phone off. I'm going to turn my phone back on to see what people thought about my covert suicidal posts. The whole generation's got a big problem, bro. Big problem.
Weird. Yeah, I think there was, I mean, I was watching some sort of documentary. I think you probably have seen it too. They were talking about how it might have been recommended by Stevie, like how phones are now, how like the technology is now starting to alter our DNA, right? And they were talking to the Congress guy and he was like, I'm 60 years old. Thank God I'm not going to be around and see this shit.
You don't know how much I hear that at my fucking hunting camp for the last 10 years. I won't be there to see that. Yeah, but your fucking grandkids will. You know what I mean? Like
well, no, they were saying it was just more scary about it. He's like, it's scary, but he's like, it's crazy that he's not going to be around to see that. You know? But yeah, you're right.
Are you or aren't you? Because 2030, 2045 movement might make my generation immortal. So, like these old Leave It to Beaver, not my problem anymore. Give me another cup of coffee and pound of bacon.
Conscience transfer into another body. I heard you guys talking about that Horseman. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? And then if not in like Utopia, it's conscious transfer into a digital state where you're uploading.
Dude, they're plugging these shows on Amazon like recently, like
why
crazy.
Do you think they're out there? Why you think that's just fucking happenstance? You think that look at every other fucking thing we got. You think that's not coming in 10 years?
Matt Damon does a movie about it, right? I think he's in a movie about it too, or something.
Dude,
like that.
He's the him and Mark Wahlberg are the number 1 and 2 Operation Mockingbird actor hires, bro. Of course they're putting it all over. They're getting ready, people ready for it. And I'm fine with it because I'm an atheist and I don't believe in heaven or hell or an afterlife. So upload me into this fucking, even if it's a version 2 of myself that doesn't know version 1's dead, it's still going to have the same digital consciousness until you can then perfect on how to do clones from my DNA. And not even that I want to, I'd rather just have an avatar because I don't want cancer and to fail and all this other shit. And then you fucking download it back into it so I can go back into the analog world, get into a spaceship and fucking go explore space from 2021 to fucking 2300.
That sounds pretty cool. That sounds fun.
That's the fucking Ray Kurzweil transhumanism transfer of consciousness to digital back into analog where you could eventually.
I'm on board. Let's do it.
What's more believable, that or fucking dinosaurs on a cloud playing checkers with your dead dog?
God, just a spaghetti monster. Yeah. Thank you, Richard.
Got it. What's next?
What do you think? All right. So after this, we got Tasha Steeles. I'm sorry, not Tasha Steeles. We got Jordan Grace is backstage, and she's like watching the match. She's like, "Wow, that was a good match. Those girls look like they're going to be top contenders." But then we get the reveal that Jordan Grace's partner is going to be legendary retired wrestler, or before she retires, Jazz. I thought that was pretty cool. I had to like do a double take for a second, man. I was like, Jazz? I was like, Jazz? I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I remember Jazz. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, great. Oh, Jordan Grace. You can check out, I'm assuming that's from her OnlyFans. Patreon.com, onlyfans.com/Trish Parker.
Let's talk about this for a minute.
All right.
because we have Tasha Steeles here. Was it Tasha Steeles or Kier Hogan with these covert messages? And this just goes to the
right. That was Kiera Hogan who made that Twitter
Kier
thing.
Hogan, thank you. And it's things like this where I say I question this whole, the only person's approval I need is my own. Get 50% off on almost any item, free US Canada shipping while I stand here. Like, I'm an empowered woman and don't judge me sexually. Now, here I am in a negligee with my nipples out on Instagram, and I know I'm a little thick, but I don't care what you think about me. The only person's approval I need is my own. And I also need some extra money for Christmas. So make sure you go and get this too. But I also want to be a senator. And guess what? I'm going to be the first woman in space, and I can beat any man on the roster. And like, that's the mentality we're dealing with, bro. And whether it's the extreme cry for help vanity metric on the way of whatever's going on in that young lady's life, or this, I used to be a fat girl, but now I'm on TV and I'm going to pose sexually, but I want to also be, you know, SJW grabbing by the pussy hat wearing crew as well and not be judged for it. You kids can't have it both ways anymore.
I think it's like, I think for some reason, whether it has to do with getting instant gratification from technology, and that's how they've grown up, that there's some sort of social normality where they have it in the mindset where that they can be anything they want to be, which in theory, if you focus on one thing and one desired goal and list out your way how to get there and meet those goals, then yes, you can do that. But their mindset is this lack of focus, if you will, and it's jumping from one thing to the next, which they think it's going to bring them happiness, versus searching within themselves, finding that happiness, and then going and finding something that equates to it, if you will.
Here's the thing, too. She's married. She's married to a guy that she should be more than happy to be with. So why is she equating her own happiness to that as well? There's only one other person that you should really care about, and what you think, what they think of you is that. Instead, you're putting it out there going, judge me, I don't care what you think. And then also look at all the likes, because I need that, because I'm the ex-fat girl who wants to be this, that, or the other, but I also want to be the empowered one who owns my sexuality, but don't sexualize me. Like, it's some 1984 doublethink, bro.
John Carnage, it does sound like a normal kid, but Trish Parker is a 20 plus, almost 30-year adult. So that's the difference. You know what I mean? Having that mentality when you're a kid, yeah, obviously, but at some point, you have to like settle down and focus on something that's going to to help you survive. Otherwise, you can, I guess, go live off, the land and live off the grid and be that person too. But if that's what makes you happy, then that's what makes you happy as well. I mean, I don't know.
It's just tough to be like, I want to be a celebrity, but here's a double standard that makes no sense that I can easily be called out on for. You're setting yourself up for some Alvarez leukemia fucking blowback.
Ooh, nice full circle.
Thank you.
Yeah. So after that, Ethan Page, as I mentioned, had his news about the 4 to 6 weeks. So we already talked about that. Then we went into the wrestler's court segment. So Johnny Swinger is led into wrestler's court in full nails-like jumpsuit, handcuffs.
So good.
He's got a neck brace on. They got the People's Court. Bum, 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 bum. I have to watch that show daily on CW. It's playing as Madison Rain comes in as a defending attorney. She asks him why,
because I made him that shirt graphic when we were going to work together, like identical to what was on the screen and for the wrestler's court. And then it went south, and I just seen it sitting here on my desktop, like the PSD file.
Oh wow.
Just like, so there's just things like that. Deals gone bad where there was opportunity. Imagine if we were on top of it 2 months ahead of this fucking thing, because I knew the sketch was coming 2 months ago, and what we could be prepared for today selling wrestlers court shirts. The missed opportunities like that got me, bro.
Well, as Johnny Swinger, he comes in and Madison Rain asks him why he's got the neck brace, and he says, "Well, McDevitt told me to wear it for sympathy." D'Lo Brown comes in, and he's apparently going to be the prosecuting attorney at first, and then there's going to be the Honorable Tommy Dreamer.
The D'Lo walk, it was dope on the way down.
You better recognize, right?
You got everything in, man. It's so good.
Cousin Jake is the guard. Now, Madison Rain has an objection. She says, how can any of them trust Tommy since he was the investigator on the case? Tommy says that's a good point. And then we do a quick jump cut. Now, D'Lo Brown, he's in full garb, right? The full white hair, old school judge head dress. And now Tommy is the actual prosecutor, right? So Madison says that the crime was strategically planned, well thought out transgression by a criminal mastermind.
I like when Dreamer sings his own entrance music as well. He sings the beginning to Alice in Chains, and then he fucking hits his pose. That popped me. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Then the term mastermind immediately dismisses Swinger's charges, and then Fala is the first witness. Fala says Swinger was bitter that Johnny Bravo chose Swinger as his best man. Cody Deaner comes up. Dreamer asks Deaner what he found in Swinger's fanny pack at Turning Point. He says, a gun. AC Romero comes up, and Dreamer asks AC if he's a fingerprint expert. He goes, no, but he did take fingerprints on the gun and found everyone's fingerprints on it. And then before the segment
backstage, somebody pulled that prop gun out, and everyone goes, "Oh, can I see it?" Like any theater show with a gun in it, and everybody gets to touch the gun and fucking shit. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and then before the segment ends, for the first time, or the first segment ends, Swinger offers D'Lo a 6-pack. That's how that first segment. So great stuff to start off with this.
How about the 6-packs got tape over it because you can't show the Miller Lite on there? That made me laugh too, man. They should have referenced that, of like not getting sued for that. Let's just keep going with the rest of the sport stuff.
Ms. Ziller Light, you're calling it.
Ms. Ziller. That'd be great. That would be great.
All right, well, let me scroll down here. So we go to the next part here.
Now we come back is with Rosemary next.
Madison Rain finishes her cross-examination with Swinger, and then Dreamer steps up to prosecute. Did he really think Swinger would get away with it? Why would he screw up his marketing opportunity, says Swinger. He's the O.J. Simpson of pro wrestling.
You read a newspaper not since 91, brother. What's going on? Well, you might.
Right. And then me and Dreamer we go back a long time, man. Do you really think that I would shoot someone? Gives Dreamer some pause, and then Madison says she doesn't have any further questions. And Dreamer calls up his next witness. It's James Mitchell. Mitchell admits he's a whoremonger and has two PhDs in the sciences of how do I pronounce this? Parapsychology and demonology. And then Dreamer asks him.
I believe that's a shoot. I believe he does have degrees in both of those.
I'm gonna have to look at what parapsychology is. That's interesting. Dreamer asks him about virgin blood. He says, this was some underlined shit. I know this pouch. He says, some of the virgin blood is cherished by some people.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Like, absolutely talking, because he's a shoot Satanist as well. So he's talking about all that shit, and it's a shot at Vince, right? So there's a lot of good stuff underneath the surface here.
I was just thinking more like even the conspiracy side of it,
all that, dude. Yeah, that's all in there.
Well, this brings Rosemary now to the stand for Dreamer to begin the prosecution.
Okay. Fine, looking fine in a motherfucker for a dead chick.
All right. Dreamer asks, "Did she ever love Johnny Bravo?" And she goes, "No, of course we didn't love him. Do you really think he is worthy of us?" She says that she wanted his virgin blood. And then, you know what? We skipped it too. This show, I want to bring it back. It did start off with Johnny Bravo in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I don't want to skip this part.
Was so good. It was a great scene, which also kind of killed the end of Wrestler's Court for me.
Interesting.
We jumped it, man. We jumped the shark big in one show.
Like, how did he get that right from there to there too?
First, so in the opening scene, it's fucking D'Amore at his bedside, and the doctor comes in and he's like, "We got to talk about some things." He goes, "Let's pull the plug." Like, you know what I mean? Like, he thought it was going to be about that. Like,
say no more.
Great. Yeah. D'Amore gives great fucking straight man answers that are like Abbott and Costello. You know what I mean? From the straight man side for this. It's so good. And this is the scene we've been wanting for a long time. You know what I mean? I wanted this scene every week with different characters. And D'Amore kills it in here, no doubt. But he's out and he's still in the coma, even though he's stable or what have you. Dude, that's 4 or 5 more weeks of TV we just left on the table, bro. Like that's that. Because at the end of this, what we're going to say, he comes into wrestler's court in the fucking gown, right in he's got the catheter thing. Dreamer grabs out of his dick. Oh, that fucking popped me. And he's got the fucking IV bag in still. Like, and he goes off and heals, man. You know, like not.
So would it have been better, like, to shoot this style, like every week, where you have one wrestler visiting Johnny Bravo and one guy being prosecuted? Day 2 of court, day 3 of court. You just keep coming back.
You clear Swinger, and they don't know, and you got to wait till Bravo wakes up because he knows who fucking shot him.
Okay, right. To keep pulling it out.
Right. So what have you? Like, he's stable. Now you do the Tony Soprano bit where every week Ty is visiting him and whatever, and just talking shit, giving him a list of things he's got to do, and you can even fucking do it from his point of view where the camera just opens and it's like the slits of his eyes and it's a very blurry Tyra bitching at him, and he fucking fades back out and dies again. And then like you show that he fucking was almost awake, and then he saw what was waiting for him, and he just says, fuck this, I'm gonna die. They come back in and give him the fucking paddles to stabilize him again. Do something with a seance with Havoc, Rosemary.
Maybe he's deaf and blind now. You know, I don't know.
Could be any of that shit. He wakes up like when Tony wakes up after Junior shoots him. He's in a fucking whole dream state, like for 3 episodes, right? And it's not till Paulie who's talking all this shit about unimportant stuff, some job they did, but it gets fucking Tony's anxiety up. Like even hearing it from the outside while he's in a coma, that's what wakes Tony up and fucking brings him back from the other side. So good artists create, great artists still make their own. It's all right there. Who's the most annoying person to wake fucking Bravo up because of one reason or the other? Or you do it.
Alicia Edwards.
He comes back. He comes back. It's zombie him, like a bunch of different things, right? But like, I think we should have just shown that it wasn't Swinger and stayed with that. Bringing him back was a mistake at the end of this. You killed a lot of TV and fun creative. It goes on because Larry D admits that it was him.
Yeah, right? So Bravo says it wasn't Bravo. Basically, he shows up and he's pissed at Rosemary once he finds out, but then he goes, but I know that makes it's the fact that he says that Rosemary did not shoot me. Dreamer says, how does he know? And he says, well, he didn't see who shot up, but he could smell who shot him. So we go to break. We immediately come back. Yes. Now Larry D's on the stand, and then Dreamer hooks him up to the lie detector test. Dreamer says that he did not shoot Tommy. Then he sprays that cologne that they were wrestling back in Wrestler's house. And this makes Lawrence D. And then he admits to shooting Bravo because he stole the woman he loves. And then D-Lo finds Finger not guilty.
Well, I got a problem. We left out of, like, this is the first time we've had a continuity problem. This is wrestle crap. So this is ridiculous to even argue, like, I've got a director's continuity problem over this wrestle crap scene. But I love high level comedy, and we've invested a lot of time. What did we miss? I mean, what is the it of this whole scene that we missed? Think about the 10 weeks of business we've done, and fucking what did we miss? Who shot Johnny Bravo?
Larry D.
Nope. Forget Wrestler's Court. Forget everything you just saw. Who shot Johnny Bravo?
Somebody else? I'm not sure.
Who and why? Go back to the wedding.
I don't remember, man. I'm sorry. I watch so much wrestling right now.
What was the understory? Who was the best man?
Falaba.
And what did Fala?
Should have been a Falaba.
No. What did Fala do?
The Hernandez. It should have been Hernandez.
Money and then you had fucking.
God, I totally forgot about that. See, that's how they totally brushed it under the rug. I'm sorry.
You had Reno Scum as the fucking hitters.
Yeah.
For fucking Hernandez. Hernandez is a gangster. And the fucking lights go out. They weren't in the ring. Reno Scum and Hernandez weren't in the ring. The shot comes from up above on the fucking ramp. A drive-by style. That's got Hernandez written all over it. Now, like Silvio says, because I'll stay calm like El Sexico tells me to, let's see how it plays out next week. Maybe it's not Larry D at all. Larry D doesn't do that, and we get back to the Fala Hernandez and Reno Scum storyline.
Right? Maybe it was they paid off Larry D to take a hit or something.
Maybe, but they didn't even fucking put those guys on the stand to like make them sweat, to be like, look, they are lying on the stand. They're working together. All you had to do was like have fucking one of the Reno Scum guys saying some bullshit. Look over at fucking Hernandez. Hernandez goes, you know, and you fucking know that you're going to lie in wrestler's quarter. Hernandez is going to fuck you up, and that they did it. But we didn't even get that little scene in there. I was shocked that there was no Falaba Hernandez Reno Scum tie-in in this, because Artie Evans, who supposedly wrote all the Wrestle House stuff and a lot of this, did a brilliant job in tying together weeks and weeks and weeks. And this was a big miss right here, bro. Big miss.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless they fix it next week.
Even Daniel Price points out they should have even made, had Fala being able, he should have been the one who pulled the hit on Bravo to clear the debt with Hernandez, right? Since he, took his money.
The scene we saw right before the wedding was them together, like they were going to roll out to fuck up the wedding. And that's why Sinister Minister kept fucking going, well, this is going along well during the wedding. And then the lights out in the shot. So you think it's them. And even if we're going to do the Russo swerve, we at least got to play that point out, because they're the number one suspects until we found the gun in Springer's bag. But we didn't do none of that, man. That was a tough creative miss for me, unless they got something up their sleeve next week where I'm going to go, oh, nice. And I hope they do, but I would add a little something in there.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, it does feel like they could have stretched out this a little bit further, that it was kind of rushed and kind of put all together in one episode.
Yeah. And Hernandez got the win last week too, so he's kind of on the push. So why not put the fucking storyline shit together? Over Fala, he got the win.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, what was kind of weird was this next, I guess it was a no contest match. You had Fala Ba come out to the ring to take on a stacked, totally jacked Sean Davari. Jesus. So Davari comes in hot, Bob hits him back and forth, and then in the middle of all this, Joe Doring and Eric Young come out. Doring slams Ba down hard, the bell rings, pile driver to Davari by EY, and as you mentioned on the Impact watch along, Davari sold the shit out of that pile driver. And then Eric Young says, my purpose is clear, my vision is clear, and I will be opening eyes to the truth. He says, this world is sick and you're looking at the cure. Out comes Rhino. For those who didn't watch Impact last week, they attacked Heath Slater. So now Rhino getting some retribution. Yeah, retribution, pal. And Dex EY and begins battling Doring. EY gangs up on him, and then the two level him down with the clothesline. EY then gets back on the mic, screams at Rhino that the world belongs to him. So I'm not saying that the segment wasn't good. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, weird to bury Falaba and Sean Davari like that. Just to,
Davari looked like he beat the fuck out of all of them.
You know what I'm saying?
Holy B12, brother. Wow.
He was
wow.
He looked like a fucking movie star. Like
dude, he looks like a fucking toy. Like he don't even look human.
An action figure. He does look like an action figure, that's for sure.
Wow. Like whatever. Be on B12. Do what you gotta do. B12 don't come, you just don't do that shit and wake up and look like that. That motherfucker has got to be putting in 4 to 5 hours a day, heavy lift, super strict diet. Like, fuck this business. I'm getting back on top. They can't deny me. Like, big shout outs to Davari. I know him and Muhammad Hassan are still close, and mad respect to Hassan for the business he did for me. So I ain't saying shit about that. About that, dude, especially if he's coming out to do business and looks like that. Woo, dude. Wow. Yeah, I didn't care for, you got to get Eric Young over because you brought him back and you got this new guy, Magnum TA gimmick with him. Joel Fuller, was it? Or was his name? I can't remember.
Doring.
Joel Fuller.
He came out of knowing, huh? They just kind of debuted him. I
don't think that's a bad thing. I like the look of the guy, man, to be honest with you. He was a little, his strikes need to be worked on a little bit. You got to have him set up to like EY fucking holds him, and that dude just gives him one punch in the stomach and drops him like an old school bar punch. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
that's what he needs to be doing, one and dones like that and shit. But yeah, EY cuts the static promo, my world, my game, my whatever. Like, that's wrestling. I think they could have done more without saying shit, to be honest with you. That guy's impressive. EY fucking, they should have hooked him, let that dude hit him, then fucking EY's talking shit off the mic to him, picks him up and hits him with something egregious like that. What he hit him with, the fucking pile driver, sold it awesome. Wicked awesome selling the pile driver, bro. He fucking popped out, super safe, looked great. I like the segment. I could have just done without any talking in it, to be honest with you.
It was wicked awesome. Wicked awesome.
that people fucking say, did you say wicked awesome? Yeah, like, yeah, it's a New York thing.
So following that, we had I think you liked the segment. I saw you liked it on the watch along. Brian Myers, he comes into the room as TJP and Crazy Steve are talking about their did we skip the match? No, we talked about it. Right, we talked about Crazy Steve.
No, we didn't. So this was a really good segment too. So
I skipped the Rohit thing. I'm sorry.
No,
yeah, the defeat.
I thought didn't go through the fucking. It's my heat's on me. We went through all the fucking wrestler court. We had Suicide versus Rohit, and Rohit looks fucking phenomenal too. They're putting over all the great shit he's doing on social media, having coffee with his belt. It's just things like that. He has coffee with his belt every morning. I just like lines like that on commentary, make me laugh. And Rohit's working how a heel should. He works like Olivencia, works like GGP. Like to me, that's it. If you took Jamin Olivencia and GGP, you got Rohit Raju, and that is a fucking phenomenal thing to have. All three of those guys would be fucking. It'd either be incredible or be terrible because they're all so close to like being good, same energy that way. But they're all three great workers. Then this match gets interrupted. Oh no. We get Suicide
comes out.
Everybody thinks it's fucking TJP because last week we had the big, you can't fight as TJP, but anybody else, wink, wink. And fucking, it looks like TJP under the thing, but it's working like Suicide. Good stuff. And then I go, here's what you got to do. You got to have TJP come out of the top of the ramp. Oop, TJP comes out of the top of the ramp. Great little swerve. I would have loved to have seen that with a live crowd. That would have made everything there, This was a really good wrestling segment. I would have written it the exact same way. So then he pulls the mask off, and it's Crazy Steve as Suicide. F you. So now TJP is in the champ's head. Like, that's a good thing for next week and what we want to see, And then we even get a pre-tape later with Brian Myers, Swaggle,
right.
TJP, and Crazy Steve. Still in some Suicide gimmick and whatnot. He's got it on the mask on the monkey's head. But he goes, did you see that? He goes, it's crazy. He goes, no, I didn't see it because Crazy Steve's blind. Like those inside jokes about his blindness fucking make me laugh big time, dude. And also respect the shit out of him even more for the level of work this guy can do character-wise, in ring, physically, and he's fucking blind. Come on, B. Come on.
So yes, as you mentioned, Crazy Steve picks up the victory here after his mask gets pulled off, and then later Brian Myers comes in and berates them. He's like, "Dude, this is not the Impact Wrestling I signed up for," and kind of shits on all of them.
Brian Myers looked like $1 million too walking out there,
like a monster compared to them.
Phenomenal. B12 all day, man. Fucking A, get on top. I got no hate.
I got to do something, bro.
This, I thought the wrestle court stuff was awesome, but this segment with Suicide and him was the best segment on the show by far, I thought.
A couple other things to go over as it ties in here to the show. Sami Callihan is with Ken Shamrock. He asks him if he's ready for tonight to face Rich Swann to become the Impact, or tonight he becomes the Impact World Champion. In comes Moose. He says, too bad Ken's match is for the second most important title in Impact, as he lifts up the TNA belt.
Still selling it. But dude, Moose's promo here took him back a step or two. This is to where he was 2 years ago with trying to slow play. Moose is a guy who could benefit greatly from my acting classes because he's fucking coachable. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And look how incredible he's gotten in such a short amount of time, in ring, character wise, getting it, long-term business. He does get it. It's just now we got to really start working on the fine tunings to make him the star that he could be.
Yeah, so Ken
Shamrock fuck you up. Shamrock is so fucking pissed off, bro.
20 guys, bro. 20 guys.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, Ken says that he wants to fight Moose now, but Sammy settles him down. Then we go over to, not to put it down or say it was bad, but in the context of the show, this was probably the worst segment of the show. Caleb with the K is with Neil Dashwood as Alicia Edwards enters, and then she wants to tag with Tennille again. She grabs the glasses so that way they could all match. And she's like, hey, we could all be a team. Tennille isn't quite game, but Alicia wants to keep at it. And they said they'll think it over. I'm not saying it was a bad segment. I just meant in the context of everything in the show.
We've got something here that they all need to grab onto. Nobody really wants to see any of them wrestle. You know what I mean? You really don't, right? Yeah. So what do we have to do? Instead of wrestling, what's our other choice?
We could get them over with character.
Character. What do you hate about them?
Well, I find Alicia Edwards, Tennille Dashwood, and Caleb to be annoying. So yeah,
annoying as shit. So how do we say annoying is our way to go? What is annoying about Alicia and Tennille?
They need to turn up the millennial shit and the Instagram shit and the social media shit. Turn it up to like.
And 10. What is the other part of that on top of that of their individual annoyance?
Converting Alicia Edwards.
Just what is naturally annoying about Alicia and Tennille?
Oh, them talking?
Their accents. We need to do Valley Girl talk with hardcore Boston accent, with a hardcore Australian accent, and a dude who's trying to do an over-the-top, flamboyant fucking annoyance as well. All fighting for the last word. And fucking one-upping and just so you go, shut the fuck up.
So it needs to be like a reality style show.
Yes. Right? And you show somebody in that realm who represents the viewer at home losing their mind, because otherwise, if it's just annoyance, the viewer is going to turn the channel. We need somebody in there who we relate to that's super annoyed by all their shit. And fucking from
Eddie
there.
Edwards. Put Eddie Edwards in there.
Shut the fuck up. That's where you're gonna get those girls over.
Like Eddie's at home right now, he's injured, and all the people are at his house, and he's just trying to fucking
my god, bro. Like fucking can you just see like Eddie's just sitting in the chair and you hear all the shit and you just keep it's all going on around him and you just keep slowly coming in on Eddie's eyes as he's fucking going crazy, sitting in a chair with his leg up. There's a lot of like, even though that scene was a throwaway scene and not really anything, it did have like, okay, there's a potential there to do something, but we really got to focus in on how to turn them up to a level, and we need somebody to relate to them as well at home. We need somebody to be the fucking I can't even think of like it's kind of like the honeymooners when shit would go crazy and you'd fucking be there to see them start to lose it. You know what I mean? Like it's that magic a little bit. We could take a little bit from that, dude.
Right. Eddie needs to, they need someone to play that straight man character or that mild mannered character who's clearly annoyed that you can relate to as the audience, right?
Fucking
right,
word.
doesn't have to say anything, just someone you can relate to as the audience member.
Snaps, bro. Like you just have Alicia on the phone with her talking back and forth all the time, and Eddie's making a sandwich, and he's just. And that's the scene. It's Eddie's reaction to like, and you build the annoyance, and then they're gonna come over and talk creative, honey. Oh. And he just smiles and nods like a husband will. They get there, and Caleb's trying to talk to him about some shit on TV he don't give a fuck about, and he just looks at him, and they're going around, and it slowly drives him nuts, bro. That's great scene work, right?
Right.
Come on,
right. Well, come on, Impact, pick that up. Well, after that, we've got the next tournament match here: Kimberly with Deonna Purrazzo, or I guess not tournament match, but members that are in the tournament match. Kimberly with Deanna Praza versus Killer Kelly with Renee Michelle. Kimberly picked up this match. It was a quick match. Killer Kelly wasn't so killer here.
Yeah, this was Kelly Klein, right? And sexy, body's in great shape, even looks like an MMA fighter with the mouth guard and shit. And she's Killer Kelly. And then she gets her fucking ass whipped for the first 4 minutes of this match. Doesn't get any offense. And she's going under to Kimberly. Wrong booking here, bro. Killer Kelly should have got the fucking all the MMA snabbits on her. And then what do? We've got a heel champion and a heel fucking kick around girl. They need to heel on her to go over. Well, I don't care if it's a simple jump up or belt shot or fucking drop toe hold. Kimberly draws a ref and fucking, Champ hits her with one. And then they go into some finishing sequence. But the heels didn't cheat at all to go over. Kimberly beats fucking Killer Kelly clean. Killer Kelly ain't shit. And now Kimberly looks like a badass underneath the fucking Champ instead of her kick around. And her barrier, the wrong business was done here. The girls in the first match too, the Sally Sells Seashells, what were they?
Sea Stars, I think.
Sea Stars, yeah. That one girl, the taller one, is like, she's pretty, but she's also kind of brutish a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm not saying she's ugly by any means. She's definitely got a unique look to her, but this is shimmer shine Japanese wrong style all day. They're standing in the pocket, wailing on each other with elbows. Just the wrong type of wrestling that these girls are trying to impress Kenny Omega by stealing that shit. And those days are over with. Like, if you ain't doing Serena's stuff, you ain't fucking, you're going to stand out as a phony ass, underdeveloped wrestler in this stuff. And that girl's got money written all over her. They both were cute, but the taller girl does. But then when I watched they went right into Japanese wrong style 4 different ways. And like their match was kind of thrown out from that. So even though we knew they weren't going over as new talent on Indestructible Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, wherever she is now, there's some things that need to be aged in really tightly in order to take these girls who were names on Shimmer and Shine, but don't have the right level of performance for what needs to be going on Impact. They need to really be agented a lot tighter.
Well, post-match, we have Deanna and Lee embrace before the lights flicker. There are signs of Su Yung as the two become first, third, and it's actually Susie. She's back to her friendly yet sad self.
This was great, too.
This is really good. I like this. I was really intrigued. She says that they hurt her friends, and now she's sad because her friends her, and now it's going to get bad. Because her friend's here, and now it's going to get bad. She says, I'm sorry. And then out comes Su Yung, or somebody who's dressed as Su Yung, and then she attacks both Purrazzo and Deanna before trying to beg her off. Then Kimberly saves her, and then they run out, and then now Susie's standing at the entranceway with her back turned, and then Sue exits, and then she turns around to reveal herself again. I don't know. Could it be that there was just, I don't know. It was just it was a good reveal. I don't know. I don't know. Is she playing both? Is it somebody else?
TV,
good.
Right? Because we could have had a cut there, and she could have played both. We could have stopped the camera, have a girl who looks like her turn around. She goes, changes, and we come back, and through the magic of editing, it's fucking absolutely mythically brilliant. And that is what we need to be doing with these types of characters. So I definitely applaud them for it. This is, again, I'm going to myself, that feels like I wrote that, and I'm not a big mythic character thing, but if you want to be able to do that in the time of empty arena, you say, wow, we've got some opportunities now that the fans aren't here to do some interesting things that we can do on camera shoots in a closed set. And that's one of them. And they did a good job with it, a real good job.
Yeah.
If it wasn't that where they did it and it was Su Yung just turned around, or Susie just turned around and she didn't go change into Su Yung, I think Su Yung was Casey Spinelli because A, nice gimmicks, and B, she was one of the undead brides and has also been on Impact in the past and is a very well-known independent worker, Canada, and can definitely, in Jersey, I think too, can get it done in the ring and is long overdue her chance to shine. So if she was already in this Susie thing as one of the undead before, and she kind of looks like her, that would have been my choice to use. Now, I don't know if that is the case or not. I might have to go back and look, but I think they did the camera, put another girl in. Now, maybe the Susie turn around was Casey Spinelli too, but either way, there's money written on Casey Spinelli, and she's going to play the part she's played because she's a pro in this type of stuff. And she's all part of that same Shimmer Shine crew as well. You know what I mean? So those girls, here's what I got to say too. Let's go back to the Kiera Hogan thing. We just saw Sally Sells Seashells, and we saw Killer Klein, and we saw maybe Casey Spinelli. There's 4 new girls. There's 4 new girls who will work for maybe $250 and not $500. And maybe we don't need you on the next taping, Kiera Hogan and whatnot, you know, and maybe that's what this type of shit is, because backstage they'll all take pictures with each other. So glad to be surrounded by empowered women. But what happens on the next set of TV tapings when those new girls that are as soon as new girls show up in the fucking locker room, you know what that means? Somebody going, because you know they have this tournament and they need get over girls. I get that, but once they open the door, you don't know who they're politicking with and trying to make deals. Or we want you for 6 weeks. We're not going to use them. Even though Hogan and her partner went over, so they should be on.
You talk about, you talk about, I hate to be the guy that says this, but you talk about, you know, the pro wrestling business being a bunch of, you know, carnies, queers, and, you know,
drug addicts. That's the whole entertainment business, not just wrestling.
Right, of course. But do you, and I mean, this isn't, of course, isn't just an extended wrestling. Do you think that somebody was like, well, we already have the Killer Kelly and the other chick, and we've already got these other chicks, and I hate to say it, but we've already got, you know, some African American girls. Do we really need Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz at a higher price right now?
That's Vince McMahon 101, bro.
Okay.
I've already got 2 black guys. What I need? Well, I already got 2 Asians. What do I need 2 more for, bro? But now, in a time of Black Lives Matter, we're getting all black athletes, which is more realistic. Do you usually see a fucking NFL or NBA team made of all colors of the rainbow? Not usually, bro. You know, the dominant athletes are African Americans. So it would lead to more reality if it was more black athletes as superior athletes. Absolutely. But in wrestling, that doesn't equate to the draw, unfortunately. It just doesn't. And that's away it goes. But like, well, then why do we have all these white? You know, I don't know. I just telling you the carny way it's been, and not that white people don't want to believe through African Americans, because when I see Bobby Lashley tune somebody the fuck up, or Keith Lee, I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. I'm not going, oh, I can't believe in him because he's not the same skin color as me. So there is an argument to be made for it. However, this business has been around for a long time. And
you set me down a rabbit hole Sunday night with the whole eugenics talk about, like, when we were talking about Survivor Series and Bobby Lashley and just the history of the culture about slavery and stuff like that. And I was just like, yeah, this is great. So I'm bored at work. I just went down that rabbit hole and I just started, you know.
Interesting. You know who sent me down? It was Mike Tyson, because he was talking about LL Cool J could have probably been world champion boxer because his grandfather and uncles were the world's most known slave fighting champions, when the slave masters used to fucking have underground fight club rings where they'd take their guy to the next plantation and they'd fucking bet on it. All the rich white guys would come and bet on these fuckers. LL Cool J's family lineage is some of the fucking most well-known slave fighters in history. And those guys were breeding those fucking guys for 3 generations to fucking, you take the biggest dude from the field, you take the strongest woman, and fucking start your little Southern eugenics program, and fucking boom, boom, boom. And now X amount down the road, you got Mike Tyson, you got fucking Usain Bolt, you got whoever the fuck, Shaq. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like it's racist as fuck to talk about, I guess, or even reference. I mean, not like we're judging it one way or the other, but the shit happened. I'm not the fucking dude from 1800 on a plane whipping nobody, but fucking, you know, let's be honest. It's not just like some small birth for, he happened to be, his people are from Ghana, so they're just born with 78-inch backs. No, dude, that's human fucking breeding programs to build slaves that were fucking massive stronger. Not them saying that it's right, but now you see the fucking difference in humanity because of it.
Well, to segue into from one great conversation to someone who didn't deliver a good conversation, we have Gio's backstage with the Motor City Machine Guns. Alex Shelley is back and healthy. Says step 1, they have their sights set on Triple XL. Step 2, the North. Step 3, the Good Brothers and the Impact Tag Team titles. You know, it was a promo.
It was a promo. That's the thing, dude. If everybody else is doing character, like, you got to step up your game when it's your time to come back. And Josh still isn't obviously doing the run-in today, but he put out last night. He must have watched. He goes, I love the Motor City Machine Guns, because we did book them in 2CW, and they work very cool, and they can do fucking all kinds of spots, and they're young bucks before the bucks.
I've heard Alex Shelley give a good promo.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Me too. But everything I've seen from these guys since they've come back is kind of mailed in, bro. And they can do things I can't do, but every little thing, even if they were going to,
it feels like AEW didn't sign them, so they ended up going to Impact. Do you know what I mean? Like, all right, well, we couldn't get signed by AEW, so I guess
that
we'll go.
Could be your point to fucking get over, to be undeniable, to go to AEW. Not be like, this is second tier. We're back here living off our former glory. Be fucking pumped about it, man. Like, the energy was so low, and just like recounting it, and then he had the neck brace. Like, we don't want to be like, he's a cool guy out of injury. Don't have the neck brace. That made him look weak too, right? He should have been like rolling his neck, like, oh man, check this out.
Swan and Willie Mack then after that meet up backstage.
Hello, honey, you're on the air. What's going on? Can I give you a shout back? Hey, how's it going?
Good. You'll never guess what I got in my email.
What'd you get?
My commercial.
Oh, you got your commercial. Awesome.
Yeah, I got my commercial video.
The wicked. Forward it to me at hackerhamin@gmail.com, will you?
Is this the greatest women professional wrestler right now?
No, this is wife number 1. She just got her commercial sent to her, so she's pumped. I'm very happy for you. That's awesome.
We can't share it on social media yet, though, because it hasn't been released. They haven't set a date.
Okay. Well,
but I have the official video.
Did I make the cut? Did my hand make the cut in there or no?
Your hand made the cut, and it looks very handsome.
Okay, good.
Made the cut.
First hand modeling gig. Well, I'm very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thanks. Well, love you. Have a good show.
All right. Love you too. The whole Hamin Media Group says congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Kick ass. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
There you go. Good news, eh?
That was actual wife number 1. That was
wife number 1. Yeah, we did a commercial last summer for some joint supplement for, it's mainly for old people, but she had it because of her knee surgery from fucking skydiving accident. And but that was last year this time we went mountain climbing, and they made her all up and shot a bunch of stuff here, and then it kind of got shelved, and she got a good payday for it. And then we went mountain climbing. It's like me putting the hand out and pulling her up. I was like, there's no way they're using my face in this. So, but we weren't sure when it was coming out. So that was cool. That's good news. She's happy.
Well, that is, I don't know. I can't keep it with all the wives I got, Ben. Sorry.
Neither can I, but fucking believe it.
Well, we went on to another backstage segment where Swan, Willie Mack, they're hanging out backstage. Swan asked Mack how he's feeling. Mack says he's been fighting his whole damn life, and the ref had no reason to call the fight last week. Chris Bay comes in, asks Mack to make an exit to talk business. Swan says Bay can step out of the picture, but Bay wants to make money with the match like Swan, calls Mack a loser. Then they start jaw-jacking, and then Bay says if Swan survives Shamrock, he'll give him a ring. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I say I've seen more out of Willie Mack the last 3 weeks than I have any other time. So I want to put over his performance. I think he's getting more comfortable working with his buddies. I think they're pulling a little bit more out of him, and I'd like to see even more. I think he's got more than he can give. But this was one of the best Willie Mack scenes as another kind of not throwaway pre-tape. It sets up the main event business, but it was better than what I've seen in other ones.
And then the final, I guess, segment, if you will, before the main event, we have Deanna and Kimberly. They approached James Mitchell, and they're hoping that they can turn their Sue Young problem into a Susie problem. Mitchell is willing to do so, of course, for a price. He doesn't disclose, but says if they want their services, they've got it. So it looks like James Mitchell's sticking around at least a little bit longer. That's pretty good to see.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see them too. So what's the price?
Her soul?
So are we going to see
Or Kimberly's soul? I don't know.
Are we going to see a possessed? Yeah, that's what I would do. I would fucking feed Kimberly, as the kicker on. But we just disestablished Kimberly as a kicker on because she went over clean on Killer Kelly and not in a heel way. So we're messing up our pecking order just a little bit,
Well, we then go to the main event, guys. Ken Shamrock taking on Rich Swann for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. Ken Shamrock, who's been able to, as I've mentioned, take out tons of guys. I mean, heck, I believe I need 20 guys to take out Ken Shamrock. But here we go. Rich Swann, he was able to defeat Ken Shamrock with really no help from anybody. He kind of went over clean here, and he beat Ken Shamrock. Really odd, really kind of odd down because Ken locked in the guillotine, but then Rich rose up to the top and then he got the pinfall. Like he basically bridged.
It's non-title too, right? Or no, this was a title.
No, it was title, winner and still champ. Rich Swann.
So Willie Mack should have and they threw out Sammy. So there was no heel shit. So it was as clean as it could get until Sammy comes in to fucking get the heel heat at the end. I think Sammy should have tried to run in before that. Willie Mack cuts off Sammy. Enough of a distraction for Shamrock to turn. That way you can get the jumping fucking Snabitz kick on him, and it would have been believable instead of just Sammy Callahan Rich Swann going over on gimmick like that, bro. Like I was like, not the best choice in that too. So that finish, the Deonna Purrazzo finish, the matches were good. The finishes were just the right business, in my opinion. And definitely the Hornswoggle finish, dude. When they killed Ethan Page's heat, that fucking gutted me a little bit, bro. Like that, you could have got the comedy and the heat over. Instead, we didn't get either of them over. So, I mean, Ken Shamrock looks bad as fuck, and I bet after this loss, he's twice as pissed off to fuck somebody up. So I hope that person's you, Matt, and I cannot wait to see the video.
20 guys, I'm telling you, because look, as you saw post-match, Ken gives the ref a shot of the gut. Out comes Sammy to beat down Swann. Sammy grabs his baseball bat, then Eddie Edwards comes out, the two gang up on Eddie. They tape him to the top rope. Sammy has his ball bat once more. Sammy gives him a hard shot to the head, and then Eddie's busted open big time. Officials run out. Stryker believes it's all calculated attack. Out comes D'Lo, who's irate. Shamrock knocks D'Lo out, mounts on top of him.
That was kind of like too, you know what I mean? Because we just got D'Lo over a huge, and let's be honest, this whole episode is about wrestler's court. At the end of the day, that's what you're going to take away from it, unless you really have to analyze it like a psycho, like we do. But to march out D'Lo again is kind of overexposure. It's the same reason why you didn't have Madison at ringside. We shouldn't have had D'Lo come out there. What did that really add? Aside from, he punched D'Lo. Like, is D'Lo going to get fucking retribution on Ken Shamrock? I don't think so. I didn't
like it. I didn't like D'Lo. But the thing was here, Ben, as I've mentioned, there was only like 6 or 7 guys that came out. You got to bring out 20. That's the key. You're not hiring enough people.
Bro, if you better, I would not put D'Lo Brown on your squad.
No.
if this was an audition for 7 guys, I wouldn't take those dudes because Shamrock dealt with them pretty easily, bro. But man, this was an enjoyable episode of Impact. It's just things like where I want them to hit a full home run, or maybe I gotta wait till next week. But the leaving out of Falaba and the Hernandez part of that storyline, that was tough for me. Finishes are finishes, but continuity and story to me is everything. So I hope they pick that up next week in a unique way that makes me go, okay, they're continuing it, but out here. But I got a feeling this was just a miss, unfortunately.
Yeah, the show ended with a bloody Eddie Edwards. So that's how it went. So there you go, guys. Another Impact Wrestling review here on your Impact Attack right here on hackerhamin.podbean.com. Of course, today is Wednesday, November the 25th, 2020. If you're watching this live on Twitch, come back tonight, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. for your pre-Thanksgiving gobble.
All that. I'll have that stuff up for you guys for the weekend. Crazy monolith story in the middle of the fucking Utah desert. Is it alien? Is it what have you? There's plenty more to discuss with the pandemic, and we got the headlines just been blowing up through the Horseman chat. I'm gonna have to spend 2 hours before the show just even going through to get myself ready to be in that mindset, man, because I'm so all over the place thinking about fucking commercials and every other goddamn thing. So, and I got to meet with Stevie Ray at 3 p.m. Got to keep reminding myself that. So.
Yep. So of course, guys, come back tonight. Twitch.tv/conspiracy, subscribe to patreon.com/RussoTWC for Masters Shoot Theater, RussoBrand.com for the Raw and SmackDown reviews. Ben and Stevie. And of course,
Master Shoot was killer this week. Had a lot of fun. I was just going off, bro.
Patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Check out our sponsors. Get your cup of Russo Bro coffee from thebrosters.com. 5-pound bag is available right now. Save yourself $9 by using the code BRO5LB. So basically get free shipping, guys. So just if you want to get yourself all stacked up here for the next month, because the lockdowns have already started and the people are already out buying all this stuff. So if you want to get your essential products, go to Russo Bros Broster Coffee at thebrostercoffee.com, and also get Zordos olive oil. Pick up yourself the finest artisan Greek olive oil. Cook up all that fine meat that you've got stored in the freezer right now during lockdown. Make it taste delicious.
I hope I get some. I'm gonna go hunt Friday.
Zordos olive oil.com.
Yeah.
Cook up. Maybe that could be a Patreon exclusive. You killing something, skinning it.
You want to watch me gut a deer? I'm fucking
Hell yeah, dude. That'd be fucking
not
sweet.
a sexy process.
I don't know. I just want to watch it.
Cut around it depends where you shoot it too. If the shot's right behind the shoulder, then it's not.
I'd like to learn stuff. Might be disgusting, but you gotta learn it.
Yeah, well, when you're fucking up to your elbows, pulling fucking guts and lungs out, cutting it away.
Well, in 10 years though, when I'm fucking out and about, I'll be like, thank God Ben Hamin made that video of gutting the deer, and I watched it. So
do it. I just don't like sawing the legs off. It always fucks with me from the Donnie Brasco thing when I cut the guys up with the bone saw. You're like, I'm like, oh, I always hate that part. Cutting the nuts off don't bother me as much as the bone saw on the shin.
Brand new episode of Sec My Balls is up right now on Hamin Media Group, RadSalary.com, and the RNR Pod Network on YouTube. Check out episode number 51, season 3 finale. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, brand new episode of Star Trek, the Academy podcast, drops tomorrow with the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, as well as brand new episode of the New Force Order podcast. WLR, Wednesday Locker Room. Watch that too.
Wednesday Locker Room's out. Strangler Steve even hit me up, said, hey, Hack, I can jump on if you want to do the Friday Locker Room early. I go, fuck, I wasn't even thinking about doing that tomorrow yet. I haven't even gotten that far as we're under the mountain of production here at Hamin Media Group. Thank you for being patient with us, trying to keep the Patreon rolling. Rip Rogers FR podcast, obviously a flagship there. I've got the threats video to put out for the end of the SWOT analysis as well. So just trying to get all that stuff done and get to the King's or the Emperor's Castle tomorrow, actually, and get the plan for the hunt down, eat some good food like I'm sure you guys will be as well and enjoying it. I also want to say thanks. Had 5 or 6 ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin sales yesterday on Culture Vulture shirt, Woo Hamin. So shout out that's going down right now at ProWrestlingTees.com. Black Friday sale all week long. So now's the time to buy to get those shirts that'll have your family going, what does that even mean when you get to Christmas time? And then you can explain all about Hamin Media Group and be the
let's see those shares, guys. On social media, we're close to 100 Patreon members right now. So if you're a Patreon member right now, or if you can't sign up and you just want to support, share the link on your social media. Of course, shout out to our street team peoples. I see a couple of them here. Frank's Pickle Barrel Ass has been with us today. Fudge 420. Of course, El Plaja, Stranger, Jay Holly. Those guys are Rida. Those guys are always posting stuff. So shout out to you guys as well.
Killing it in the Discord, having a good time over there. We did some watch-alongs. We'll probably get the kayfabe link to the Tyson fight and do that in Discord so the Twitch channel doesn't get pulled
off. Is it this Saturday?
I think so. Yeah. Right. 28th. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm off this Saturday. Cool.
we'll be throwing down, man. It'll be a good time for everybody. So appreciate you tuning in the Impact Attack. Go to 2CWV2 and put heat on them. Say you were so scared that Hacker Hamin destroyed your company that you wouldn't even show up for the Impact Attack the second time. It's heels over strong on at 2CWV2 infidels. Hacker Hamin, MSG, the Impact Attack infidels. You've just been found guilty of being a mark in Wrestler's Court. Yalla.
Yalla, yalla.